Hi, and welcome back to Vlogmas. I'm Tara Swiger, and here on this channel, we talk about running your creative business and what it's like to have a creative business life. And guess what? That includes your mental health. So today I'm going to share a tool that I use on days that are bad and talk a little bit about how you can create your own. So if you like this video, hit the like button below. It helps me know that you want to hear more videos like this, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now, this topic, I have so many caveats. The first I want to say is I'm not a mental health professional. See a professional and get professional help. This list of ways to feel better and lift your mood are not long-term solutions. They're short-term solutions by design. Long-term solutions include seeking professional help, therapy, medication, and long-term lifestyle change. So some of these things are going to hit on that, but they're not, you should not do this instead of seeing your doctor, because I will tell you, I'll be totally honest, that's what I did. I convinced myself that if I just made it okay day by day, I'd be okay. But depression is cyclical, and it tends to get worse each time you experience it. This is based on studies, not just my own personal experience. So if you don't get it dealt with professionally, it's like any other illness that you'd have. You'd go to a doctor for it. You'd get it taken care of. And by not doing that, you're making it harder on your future self. So get professional help. I'm going to include some links in the doobly-doo below for free help you can get if you're struggling. So with that said, one of the best tools for me, and I did not do this and I don't know why, but one of the best tools is to have a checklist of things to do when I have a low mood or when I'm feeling very, very anxious. And I mean in the kinds of moods where you can't really focus to work or you can't really get yourself to work. Your list is going to be different than mine, but I want to tell you that having a list makes it so much easier, because when you're in that place, you literally can't think of what to do to feel better. This is even true for me with something like essential oils. So right now you might be hearing my diffuser next to me. I use essential oils every day, multiple times a day. I will just not do that on days that I feel good. I literally won't put on what I know makes me feel better, because I just kind of forget, because I'm in a fog. It's hard enough to focus on giving myself coffee and water and remembering to eat. So all of the extra self-care stuff tends to fall away, even though that's when I need it the most. So a checklist helps, especially if it's some place semi-public, you can put it on a Post-it note on your fridge. We have a couple whiteboards on the fridge, and I'll write a couple notes to myself there that are kind of I'm kind of weirdly private about this. So even though my husband knows everything and I talk to him all the time, I'll just make notes in code for me the night before. And because for me, it tends to be worse in the morning, and it gets better as the day goes on if I do stuff as the day goes on and I feel good about how I spent my day, which is another whole issue. So this is a list that for me helps most in the morning. I know other people, they wake up and they feel great and their mood gets lower throughout the day. So maybe you want this list in some place you're gonna see it later in the day, like in your planner or on your computer screen, on a Post-it note on your laptop, on the bathroom mirror, wherever you're gonna go regularly and see it. Now, the first thing is some basics that I checklist through. Oh, there's also this idea is not my own. There is an awesome checklist for what to do when your depression is bad and you think there's no point in anything. It was written by mental health professionals. It's really, really great. It includes things like, have you eaten in the last 3 hours or 4 hours? Have you used the bathroom? Have you brushed your teeth? Have you drank a glass of water? It's very basic, but it's also very helpful. So I'm going to share that. And then I suggest you make your own checklist for you to go through. Now, the bigger lifestyle checklist things at the top of my list, and this is based on a bunch of research I've read. The first one is wake up at the same time every day. So one of the books I was reading about mood disorders is that they can also be called a disorder of the circadian rhythm. So your circadian rhythm tells you when to wake up and when to go to sleep. And what often happens with people who are living with mood disorders is that their circadian rhythm gets thrown off. So they stay up very, very late and they tend to sleep in, or they fall asleep in the middle of the day and they can't sleep at night. Insomnia is a big issue. So the key that they found in their research research to have the best improvement with people with depression, anxiety, and bipolar is to set their alarm and get up out of bed at the same time every day. Because falling asleep at night is hit or miss, especially if you have insomnia, but getting up at the same time each day is gonna help set your circadian rhythm, like reset it no matter how badly you slept or didn't sleep last night. And right behind that is to get sunlight on your eyeballs. This helps your body produce melatonin later in the day. Melatonin doesn't make you go to sleep. Melatonin helps build up the urge to go to sleep. So by having sunlight on your eyeballs pretty much as soon as you can when you get out of bed, that's gonna help set your circadian rhythm for the night and help your sleep be better that night. Even if your sleep is crappy, get up at the same time. So that's the first thing. Get up at the same time each day, out of bed. It's super important, no matter how depressed you are, no matter how much you feel like you can't get out of bed. I'm telling you this from personal experience, actually getting out of bed and then just literally like on bad days, I'll like just go outside and be on my front porch and like look at the direction the sun rises so I can like see some direct sunlight. It's gonna make it easier to do things the rest of the day. The next thing is my vitamins. So vitamin B12, vitamin D, a bunch of other ones, but those are the two really big ones. Shortages in those impact your neurological function. So mood disorders are related to your function of your hormones with your neurons. Serotonin, adrenaline, cortisol, norepinephrine, those all impact your mood. Like that's what makes your moods happen. If you've listened to my podcast episode, How Emotions Are Made, I talk more about that. Having enough B12, having enough vitamin D, which if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, you're not getting enough of in the winter. Studies show that a huge percentage of the population are not getting enough vitamin D, and that's impacting your mood. So I take a multivitamin pack, like it's 3 different things that work together, which include omega-3 oils, which is also super important to brain health. I'm so tempted to like nerd out on the science with you, but you can read all about it. There's a lot of studies out there about how omega-3s impact your nerve health. So I take, it's called the Lifelong Vitality Pack from doTERRA. It's called a multivitamin with enough vitamin D and vitamin B12. It's got an omega-3 and it's got a cellular vitality mix, which has things that like naturally create energy on the cellular level. So it's not like caffeine or sugar. It's like helping your mitochondria do their job better. And it includes some essential oils that have been known to help with mood issues, like frankincense, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And also things like curcumin powder, which helps with energy. And there's a bunch of stuff in it. I've done a whole video about that pack and why I take them and how much they helped with my energy when I first started taking them. So that is like, get up at the same time, get sunlight in my eyeballs, take my vitamins. Because if I don't have my vitamins, my brain literally can't work well on a physiological level. Like it's not even mental, it's physiological. Next thing is, as much as possible, avoid sugar or things that will be immediately turned to sugar, which is like white flour things. This is another one of those things that are like, it's lifestyle based and there's so much science about why this matters. Your insulin is directly tied to your mood stabilization. And so making your insulin out of whack by eating something sweet or eating something full of white flour is going to make your mood unstable. Even if you're not insulin resistant, that's a bummer. I know. There's a lot of study around why it impacts depression and anxiety the way that it does. But cutting out on caffeine and white sugar and white flour is like a baseline way of making sure you're not getting too anxious, which I know is actually the worst because I crave it the worst when depressed. It's all I want to eat. It's just your brain lying to you. I'm telling you it's going to make you feel better. So the next thing that's like a daily, kind of like daily stay even kill thing is mindfulness. There is a lot of research about how mindfulness improves your daily mood when suffering from a mood disorder. If you want to look more into it, look into MBSR, mindfulness-based stress relief, I think it's called. I'll link it up below. But it doesn't have to be spiritual. It doesn't have to be religious. You need a practice where you take a second. A lot of people with anxiety say, there's no way I could do meditation or mindfulness practice because my brain won't stop. Good news. You don't have to stop your brain. You just need to focus on your breath. You're still going to have thoughts. Mindfulness-based practices have been shown to work for all, like major improvements in all mood and brain disorder stuff. So there's research about all of it, including OCD, anxiety, panic disorder, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia. It helps. So I use, and the thing that most of my students have used and love and tell me that they stick with is the Headspace app. It's got, basically, you can start your habit for free on the Headspace app. And then if you want to explore different mindfulness practices, you can pay for a monthly or a yearly subscription, but it's totally free to do the 10-day, 10 minutes a day practice to get you into it. I'll be honest with you. I did that for like 20 days and then I didn't need the app. I just kind of do it in my head. Every once in a while when I feel myself falling away from that habit, which I totally have many times, I fall off the habit for a month or so. And when I come back to it for about a year there, and before I even sought treatment, 2014, I think, I bought the Headspace app and I went into the meditations they had then and really, really helped me. Since then, they've added so many other ones. They have ones that you can do during exercise, ones that you can do during travel. So if you are like just thinking like mindfulness doesn't work for me, start with Headspace. It's like, I have so many students who, when I first talked about this a couple years ago, started and say they have totally loved it. So it's not just me that loves it, it's a lot of people that love it. So that is the basic, like that is the foundation. Am I doing what I have to do to even be like physiologically well? Then there's the checklist of things I can do to lift my mood when it's low, when it's bad, or when my anxiety is really high, which kind of feels the opposite, which is like swirly tension. I can't focus, right? Like too many thoughts. I literally can't focus. Or panic, where I just feel super afraid of everything. So, if I've woken up and I've gotten outside and I've taken my vitamins and drank a whole glass of water with it, one of the quickest interventions is essential oils, straight up. So the vitamin I take has frankincense in it, so I'm getting frankincense every day. I take copaiba soft gels. Copaiba comes from the sap of a tree in Amazon. It works in your system like CBD oil does, except for it works more directly. The pathway that it interacts with your neurons is actually direct, like lock-in key system, where CBD oil causes a chain reaction that eventually interacts with your nervous system. Copaiba interacts directly. It is more effective than any CBD product I've ever tried. When it comes to doing any essential oils internally, do not use random oils that you find from random companies. There is no FDA approval process. That most oils are not safe to take internally. I use doTERRA and take their soft gels, copaiba soft gels internally, because they are so tested, that they're the most tested essential oil, and they publish the results of their tests. And what they're testing for is A, is this the oil it says it is? Does it have all of the chemical constituents that actually make it interact with your body? Does it have enough of them to be like a dose level of effectiveness, an effective dose level? They also test for heavy metals and pesticides and several other things that can be added to other essential oils, and make sure that it is not added, it's totally pure. They publish the results of those tests. If you want to learn more about essential oils, I've done an Essential Oil 101 workshop. I'll link up the video below, but copaiba soft gels have been amazing. Then also using oils to go to sleep at night. So there is the Serenity blend, but if you just get your starter package, here's what I would use. Frankincense under your tongue, or if you don't like the flavor of it, put it in a soft gel. You can get a veggie cap from doTERRA. They're like empty and you put the frankincense in and you take it. That has been shown to help with low mood states. So frankincense is going to come in your kit. Actually, if you get a kit in December, you're going to get an extra frankincense. And frankincense is one of the most expensive oils. So you're going to get it for free if you get started with the Home Essentials kit. The Home Essentials kit has a diffuser, it has frankincense, plus 9 other of the best love oils, including lavender, which if you put lavender and frankincense in your diffuser at night, you'll sleep better. In the morning when you wake up to get going, peppermint and lemon together. Peppermint is the oil of focus, and a lemon is going to wake you up and lift your mood. So breathe is in there. Breathe is eucalyptus and mint and lemon, and it will lift you up. Also, deep blue. Side effect of depression is soreness and tense muscles. And actually tensing up too much is a side effect of anxiety. So if you have sore, tense muscles, the deep blue blend is going to help relax those muscles, feel good, get rid of your tension, especially if you've got it right here. So all of those just come in the basic kit. And then the Copaiba soft gels and the Lifelong Vitality, I use those. If you get the bigger kit, the Natural Solutions kit, it also comes with Serenity, which is a sleeping blend, and Balance, which is like the daytime, helping you balance your mood, helping you feel grounded and calm throughout the day. That is what most of my students say they use during the day, like as their workplace blend. And it comes with a deep blue rub, and it comes with a Lifelong Vitality already. So you're gonna get all of that in the Natural Solutions kit. That is basically the kit that will give you everything you need to use essential oils for your mood. Next on my checklist, after I've done that, right, I've put something in the diffuser, at least something is going, something is lifting my mood. The next thing on my list is to log the mood in Mood Notes. So I like this app called Mood Notes. You basically swipe up or swipe down to make it like a smiley face or a frowny face, and you write something like what's going on right now. And then if you've done a frowny face, it'll ask you to check a thought. So basically what it walks you through is CBT therapy, or cognitive behavioral therapy. So you write your thought that's making you feel however you're feeling, identify the like thought trap, the cognitive kind of mistaken way you're thinking about things, and help you reframe that thought. So that is what cognitive behavioral therapy is. What I like about the Mood Notes app is you can do it on yourself right then. That's the whole idea of CBT, is once you learn it, you do it on yourself in the moment. Also, when I'm not feeling like I can work, like I can't focus, or I just like am too meh, I listen to a podcast. So I've got a couple podcast recommendations for you guys. Obviously, your list is going to be different, but okay, so this is a new podcast I just found, The Hilarious World of Depression. It's great. They've recently, or just at all, they've talked to Hank Green from The Fault in Our Stars and Vlogbrothers. They talked to Will Wheaton, you know, of Star Trek, TNG. You guys know who Will Wheaton is. Jenny Lawson of the vlogmas. Those are great episodes. And it's not making fun of depression. It's talking to people about their experiences. And I have to say, listening to people talk about their experiences reminds me that it's not me that's messed up. Like, it's not just me that feels this way, and that depression lies to us all in very similar ways. So there's like some solution. There's some hope of help because other people have found help. I find that super helpful. So the next podcast is Dear Hank and John. It's by Hank and John Green. If you call it dubious advice, like people write in asking questions and they answer it, and it's silly. It's always very, very silly. But also it's like the right perspective I need, which is like, it's going to be okay. It's basically kind of always their perspective. And like, you're going to try your best. You're going to be a loving person and a compassionate person, and it's going to be okay. So I don't know. It helps. Dear Hank and John. Here's the big thing for me listening to podcasts. I can't listen to political podcasts in this current political climate and maintain a healthy mental health. And I listen to a lot of business podcasts. When I'm not feeling like I can even focus on my own work, listening to business podcasts only make me feel worse about myself. So like, because what'll happen is I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea, I should do that. But I never do anything and nothing ever works out. There's no point. That's not helpful. So like, this is why I'm sharing these specific podcasts, because I want you to have different options other than business podcasts when you're not feeling well. So also the great thing about a podcast is you can literally lay on the couch and stare at the ceiling and listen to a podcast. I have had periods of time where I can't even read. And so a podcast is like something I can do that literally requires nothing of me, but gets me out of my own head. Because laying on the couch staring at the ceiling with nothing means that like I'm gonna just keep swirling. And like Tea by the Book is a podcast in which two friends read self-help books and live by them for 2 weeks. I just like the women. I like the way they look at a lot of the books I've already read. It's not really a self-help podcast. It's more like a, you're fine the way you are. And if you want to improve in some ways, you can, but you don't need to always be improving. That's helpful to hear. Also, this is, well, let me say this one first, Nerdette. So the Nerdette podcast is interviews with a lot of nerdy women around pop culture, really. So I like the conversation with Madeline Miller where they talk about her book Circe. I waited to listen to it till after I listened to Circe. They talked to the new Doctor from Doctor Who. They talked to authors. They just recently talked to the Instagram person. She has an Instagram account, Well Read Black Girl. And they talked to her about reading and books and representation in books. They talked to like all my favorite authors. They did a whole series on how to feel better, where they talked to famous people about what they do to feel better. That was great. And another podcast is Jen Gotch's Okay Sometimes. She's the founder of Bando. She's like a creative graphic designy artist kind of person and an entrepreneur. And her early episodes, especially when she talks about her own diagnoses, finding a therapist, her kind of journey, super helpful. She also has episodes that are full of things like this, things that you can do when you're not feeling great, things to turn your day around. Those are the podcasts I listen to. Also, I will sometimes watch YouTube videos, like when I don't really want to watch TV. And I like Vlogbrothers, and then just like YouTube videos about things I don't know about are interesting to me. So there's SciShow, where you can learn science. There's Crash Course, where it's actually like courses on specific things. I particularly like history and psychology. And like learn a little bit. This is to read a novel. If I read a business book, my brain just like gets swirly about like all the things I'm not doing in my life. But reading a novel can just take me out of my own life into somebody else's life. Also biography or memoir, super good for taking me out of my life into other people's life. That is my list of things that feel good. Those are some of them are gonna work for you and some of them are not. Like if you don't have basset hounds, I don't know if walking your dogs are gonna help. If you have a cat, snuggling a cat. Top 10 things. So those are the things on my list. I heartily recommend that you make your own list. Like, how you do it is just pay attention to what works for you. Like if you're not feeling great, but yet you manage to do something and then you feel like slightly better after that. So like for me, it will often happen that like I won't feel great when I wake up. I'll take my vitamins, I'll drink my water, I'll like sit outside. Maybe I can't even focus to read. So I listen to a podcast, and then after the podcast, I actually feel like, okay, now I want to focus on work for a minute. Like I want to answer some emails, or I want to write that Instagram post. And then I do a little bit of work, and then I'm like, okay, now I'll do like a bigger project at work, like writing something or creating something. And then like by the end of the day, I've actually like been able to accomplish a couple small things. Now that doesn't happen all the time. But so I know that like listening to a podcast actually it doesn't lead me to just spend more time on the couch. It actually feel well enough to do something. Whereas like whenever something works for you, write it down. Like if a podcast afterwards, you're like, oh, I want to go do stuff, write it down. Make the checklist, put it on a whitey board in your kitchen, put it on a Post-it note in your bathroom or your bedroom, or make a t-shirt that says your checklist. Just have something so that when you literally don't have the energy to figure out what to do, you can just look at it and do something off the list. You guys know that my whole method of like doing stuff in your business is thinking once, like maybe once a month, once a quarter, about all the stuff you need to do. And then each day just wake up and do the stuff off your list. The whole map making process is built on the fact that I have lots of days and I'm over the course of having a business, lots of days where I can't figure out what to do. I don't have the mental space to figure out what to do. If I have it written down what I should do, I can just do it. That takes a lot less mental energy than coming up with what to do new every day. So I hope this helps. I hope you make your own list. I want to hear what is on your list. Leave it in the comments below. Check out all the links to everything I mentioned. I'm going to try to link it up. If I mention something and I don't link it up, tell me. I'll add the link. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you want to hear more stuff like this, give it a thumbs up and share your own resource in the comments. That would really help. Thanks so much.